Hello guys, welcome. Hope you're all good. How's everyone getting on? It's nearly Christmas, but we're still carrying on. So I've got some fantastic value for you guys today. So we're live at the moment in Facebook, in the group, personal page, YouTube, and also Instagram. So guys, if you've got any questions, if you find value from this, then feel free to comment below, because we've been deal sourcing for a while now. And, we've gone through the thick and thin, COVID, the rest of it. And what we've done is we've compiled several different objections from landlords and agents, right, over the time of deal sourcing, making hundreds of calls now, and we've compiled it. Now we don't necessarily make the calls. We've got like teams to do that, etc. But we're very, very experienced, on point through taking the calls, taking the no's, which is super important, and gathering objections. And then not only that, once you know the objection and you hear it over and over again from the agent or landlord, believe it or not, there's only a short list of objections, ones that we've recognized anyway, and we've created it. We've compiled a database of different objections and the best solution we can offer. It's not always going to be a yes after you give them a solution to an agent or landlord, but it really, really helps. So just before I jump into it, guys, I hope you can hear me all right. Title of the video, as you might be able to see it, I'm going to give you guys 3 sets of objections today and 3 solutions that we can offer to agents and landlords. So this is when you're acquiring your rent-to-rents, right? And it's going to be very, very similar, whether it's HMO or SA or even rent-to-rent just in general. So hopefully by the end of this, guys, you're going to get super value, because you can take this information. If you're making calls at the moment, if you're a deal sourcer at the moment, or even if you're trying to build your own portfolio of rent-to-rent service accommodations, you're the one who's ringing the agents. So you've got to make sure you have firepower. And I'm going to hopefully give you some gems by the end of this that you can utilize when you continue making the calls, right? So hopefully this gives you value. I'm going to get stuck into it. If you have any questions, let me know as always. So point number 1, right? This is one of the big ones that we compiled over the thousands of calls that we've made over the time of the last 3 years of rent-to-rent sourcing and whatnot. So the first one is this can be either through an agent or through a landlord, but the landlord essentially just wants to let to families and working professionals. So they might say that they're open, right, to a company let. This is what we're gunning for. We're gunning for a company let. But then they might say things like it's just families they want, or it's just working professionals. They're open to these 2, but nothing else. And it's like, this is the key thing that I want to kind of get across here. When an agent or a landlord says something like that, in my opinion, that's not an objection. It can be a perceived objection, but this is not an objection. So this is one that's really, really came up often. And the best way to come around that is, switching it straight away. So this is fantastic. This is exactly what our business model is. So we tenant and house families who are traveling, workers that are working away from home, working professionals on a short to mid-term basis. So therefore, this actually works perfect with what the landlord's requesting. And it's so simple to flip it, but you've got to have it up here to know exactly what you've got to say. If you are not confident, the vibe's not right, the rapport's not built, they're going to still fob you off and they're going to say no. So you've got to build a bit of rapport, right, when you're speaking to these landlords and agents, and you've got to get to know them. And there's ways to do that, of course. But if they say that, landlord only wants working professionals and families in the property at one point or throughout the tenancy, that's great. That's great, because that's the exact business model that we kind of target. And then see how they react to that. This is a really, really good one to flip it straight away. That's what it's all about here. So point number 2, let's get into it. Point number 2 is what guarantee, and let me know if you guys have heard these ones, right? Let me know if you have been making the calls, if you've been taking the no's, because it's part of it. You'll know if you're a deal sourcer by now that you've got to be strong upstairs, because the no game is just unbelievable. So read the book Go for No if you haven't, because that's a really good mindset book when it comes to taking rejection and whatnot. So yeah, point number 2, what guarantees have I got that your company or the companies that are going in the property won't trash it? So what guarantees have I got that the property will not get trashed? Who's heard that one? Because this one right here makes me laugh when they say it. And this is quite a common one, usually due to lack of understanding, maybe a bit ignorant on the what a company let is. But I try and, when I was taking the calls and I still do, but not as much. When I was making calls to landlords and agents on a super regular basis, like 100 calls every single day, I had to, it was a bit of a tongue-in-cheek response when they would say something like this, because at the end of the day, what guarantees, you've got the same guarantee that a normal AST client's going to trash the property. So it's laughable for you to say something like that. I don't say this, obviously, this is just me ranting, but you know, you've got the same guarantees, if not worse, that a standard AST client's going to trash it. Because here's the thing, and this is what you need to have it in your head if you're making the calls, guys, because if you don't know what you're saying, and you can get stumbled across, and you're not going to be able to give the relevant solution and quick. Like you need to come across like you're knowledgeable, and if you don't, they're going to sense it. People aren't stupid, so it all comes down to replying fast, but in the professional manner with rapport built as well. But there's absolutely no difference between companies staying in the property, families staying in the property, as opposed to a normal AST client. If anything, it's going to get more damaged, potentially more trashed from an AST client who is a long-term basis. And the reason for that is when it's a company let, short-term let, serviced accommodation, whatever you want to call it, the people in the field, everyone who's watching this, you're going to know if you're in the SA field, you're going to know, especially if you're a management company, every single checkout there's a clean, and if there might be a 2-night stay, there's a clean, a 3-night stay, a weekend stay, a week stay, clean, and it's all, and the chances of it being trashed are less. To add to that, I mean, you can flow all these out. These are just in my head that I would sprawl out literally. Obviously take my time doing it. I'm just ranting a bit to you guys right now, but you want to have these these tools in your arsenal to give them the answers straight away, and literally pull it back on them and say, look, you're experienced, this is what we do. Another way that helps with not being trashed properties is weekends will put the prices right up, for example. That's going to get rid of the crap clientele that we're not really looking for. We take security deposits, we take IDs, and we get the guests to fill out forms to say no parties, all the rest of it. So by doing all these relevant steps and checks, it's lowering the probability of getting it trashed, right? Now, with that being said, you know what people are like. People can lie, and that's just the way it is. So people will give you ID, they'll pay the deposit, they'll sign the forms, and guess what? They'll still trash it, the 100%, because people are just people, and there's always minorities in every field, right? So that's a real good answer. Really switch it on the agent or landlord and let them know that you're knowledgeable. Let them know that you know what you're doing and you're confident in doing it. And that's a real good solution for that objection. So if you've heard that one before, guys, let me know. I hope this is super valuable as well, because, you know, if I knew all these solutions before we started going in on calls and taking no after no after no, being unknowledgeable 2.5, 3 years ago, this would have probably got us so many more yeses. So this is super valuable, guys. Really, really is. So let's get into it. Point number 3, guys. Last point on this video. This is a good one as well. The landlord, similar to point 2, but it's slightly different, and there's a slightly different answer. So the landlord does not want contractors due to wear and tear and cleanliness. Now, again, I definitely appreciate why a landlord would say that. I definitely appreciate why a landlord would be concerned about the property. It's their investment. It's maybe their sentimental property. And it may be that, and it's definitely that emotionally connected thing with their investment, right? So I do get it. But again, you know, wear and tear, cleanliness, these are things that we've noticed over time. This is the kind of like the main thing that the landlord is definitely bothered about. So before I answer this, before I give you the solution, hopefully this is valuable. Give it a like, guys, if it is. And I hope that I'm going to put this on the replay so you can watch it back. Take some notes and have it to hand when you're making the calls. So yeah. So landlord doesn't want wear and tear in the property, guys. This is another one. Have you heard that one before? Here's the solution. So again, you want to build some rapport beforehand. And then you want to turn around and then to them and say, ultimately, yeah, if it's through the landlord or agent, I appreciate 100% that the landlord's going to want to protect their property. I 100% agree that they should be thinking like that. I just want to reiterate that we're very experienced. Now, you know, things can happen, of course. But with that being said, I just want to let you guys know that, again, cleaners go in after every single checkout, whether that's 2 nights or a week, and it's the same kind of answer there. But I need you guys to understand, right? If you put that across, it should really, really help, because it's helping with wear and tear, and it's definitely helping with cleanliness. Cleaners going after every single checkout or every week. So it can be a much better way of avoiding wear and tear. You'll know what it's like. I mean, if you've been in property for a while, if you've been property managing, every quarter or so, the landlord or the agent might contact you to ask to I've just got a message there, so say if they can go and inspect the property. If you ever had an email or a call from an agent saying that, then you know what I'm talking about. But every quarter or so, they'll ask to go and inspect it, just as a basic checkup, right? Now, if it's an AST client, people just take the mick out of people's investments, right? And if it's an AST client who is renting a property off the landlord, there's programs out there that show what kind of states people leave properties in. And we're here being the solution to that potential problem. This is so powerful, guys, if you utilize it and put it across the right way. Like literally, you can be that solution to their issues, because it's a massive issue in the landlord world. Turn on like Channel 4 and the rest of those programs where it talks about it, let alone people not paying rent. And that's a whole nother matter that we have a massive benefit to landlords as well with guaranteed rents, etc. So definitely we get cleaners in on every checkout. Wear and tear long term is something that's minimalized because we've got cleaners and maintenance teams. We have power teams and the rest of it that will go and fix things. We'll utilize guest security deposits and use that if they damage something. As opposed to an AST client, AST renter, who's not going to care about none of that stuff. They've gave this security deposit to the landlord or the agent, and they're just thinking, oh, I'll just do what I want now. If it comes out of my deposit, it comes out. They're not proactive. I mean, not saying, oh, it's quite generalized, maybe a bit judgmental, but I don't really care. If it's an AST client, based on what I see through the different programs and stuff, the main majority just don't care. They just don't care, right? And that's, again, where we're the solution. We do care. This is our business. This is our livelihood, and we take it very, very seriously. So I hope that kind of helps give you some pointers there. And you can maybe also put things in the contract as well, just to give it that extra push. Look, I know that the landlord's super, he's got a problem with this situation, clearly. How about if we had a clause in the contract to say, look, we'll ensure that at the end of the tenancy, we'll make sure it's in the same condition as it was when we got it. No problem. So that's another good way to bypass that objection. So I hope that helps, guys. These are gems. Take notes of this stuff. Watch it back. I want to run through it. And if you have any, I see there's a few questions. I'll get to those in a second, guys. Thanks for staying on and watching. I hope it's been valuable. But just to give you a quick overview for the guys that are in here last, watch it on the replay for the full thing. But 3 objections when speaking to landlords and agents. You got to be prepared. You got to have your tools in your arsenal so you can give answers and quickly. So landlords only want to let families and working professionals. That was point number 1 objection. Point number 2 objection, what guarantees have I got that the property won't be trashed? And point number 3 is the landlord doesn't want contractors due to potential wear and tear and cleanliness issues, because contractors get a bit of a, an assumption that the dirty, scruffy people, right? So apologies to the contractors maybe watching on here, but, scruff bags get called and whatnot. So landlords have the issue with that. And I know this because I've had multiple calls saying that, direct from the horse's mouth, being the landlord. So, I have a laugh about it with them. It's a great rapport builder when they say that kind of stuff. And then you come in with the solution. That's all it's about. It's about being people person, speaking to people, letting them know that you're there to help. And you've got the solutions. That's what it's all about. And then you've got all these solutions that I've just spoke about as tools to the arsenal, so you can really get deals over the line. Now, just to wrap it up, I think there's a couple of questions, but you might be asking, what makes me qualified to be able to say things like this? Who am I to be able to give you solutions to objections? And if you haven't been following me for long, then it's a valid question, right? But On Point Property Solutions, I'm the co-director of. We've been doing Rent to Rent SA now for 3 years. We established the business in January 2019, but we was behind the scenes building things before that inception date, if that makes sense. Anyway, so we've been in it for 3 years. We've managed multiple properties for ourselves, our own, and also for clients, multiple clients now. We've sourced well over 100 property opportunities. So that alone makes us very, very qualified. We also help others now establish themselves in the market, help them with finding properties, help other people get returns on their investment. We do all sorts now. This is what we kind of live for now. This is what we take seriously. And we're willing to put it on the line I'll put it on the line by coming on lives and helping as much as I can. So it's all about giving value. So I hope you found it valuable. We've got a couple of comments. So yes, Marco, thanks for the comments. The boss, well, you said it, not me. Thank you. You were really good. So yeah, appreciate that. It's all through experience. You can't BS this kind of stuff at the end of the day. And I implore anyone else who's passionate about what they do to come on live, be fully transparent. We're not perfect by any means. Not saying that at all. No business is, no person is. But you've got to show up. You've got to keep being diligent. You've got to promote your services. You've got to promote your brand, and personal branding is super massive as well. So I'll wrap it up there. If you're a deal sourcer, if you're a management company trying to build your portfolio, then build your businesses, guys. You need to make sure that people are seeing your products. If you have SAs, if you do your own SAs, then you need to show that contractors can come into your properties. If you're a deal sourcer, you need to be showing potential investors and clients that you are the person to be able to help them with their problem, which is a good return of investment, right? So get yourselves out there, guys. I hope it's been valuable. Comment below if you have any questions. And that's just reminded me, before I wrap up, I gave you 3 pointers today. And I appreciate that you guys who are still watching. It's been 20 minutes, so thank you for your time. I want to give you some more free information. So I've got a list of about 8 or 9 different objections. I've covered 3 of them today. So if you want the sheet with about 8 or 9 agent and landlord objections for sourcing and securing rent to rents, then just comment yes below. Comment yes below, and then I'll send you a message with the link, and then you can have it. So and it will really, really help. And you can print it off. You can, this is what me and Reese did. My business partner will print it off and literally have it to hand when we're on the calls. And at the beginning, I was literally scoping through them all. Have we got an answer for this? Have we got an answer? And built it up. So yeah, comment yes below if you want that, and I'll get that sent over. Other than that, keep going, keep building, keep growing, and I shall see you on the next video.